guys, it's 7:30 at night. Sorry, I just got a bunch of notifications. It's 7:30 at night and it's my first time vlogging today. I genuinely didn't think that I was going to be vlogging today, but Epps just went to the gym because we have a lot of driving to do tomorrow, so he's trying to get it in tonight. The last 24 hours, oh my God, let's talk about it. So I ended my last vlog by talking about how I was going to be laying down to take a nap because the boys were headed home. They had spent the weekend out of town. Let me just get something out of the way very, very quickly. E's dad, Dee looks at him as a dad. When we talk about him in real life, it's not E's dad. It's dad. I mean, the man was there when Dee was born. He has been in his life every day ever since. He looks at him like dad. So if I just refer to E's dad as their dad, that's why. This probably sounds weird, but to me personally, it's not, because my stepdad, his family has been in my life since the day that I was born, so I don't really view them as any differently than my biological family. And that's exactly the way that it is with E's family. They have been in his life since the day that he was born, and he does not view them, and they do not view him any differently than a biological family member. They are just family. And E's dad, their dad, does not have family in this area at all. At all. He did have family in Cleveland, but they passed away. And so if he wants to see his family, he has to travel for a few hours to be able to do so. So it's like every once in a while, usually every couple of months, he takes the boys and he takes them and he, you know, goes and visits his family. And I'm kind of losing my train of thought a little bit. I know what I want to say, but it's having trouble coming out. One of my biggest fears every time this is a thing is that something's going to happen like this. Exactly this, actually. I live in constant fear that something's going to happen to my sons. Every time that I talk about the fact that I have 2 deceased little boys, you know, they're older brothers that passed away, you know, not even a year before E was born. There's some people that don't know that, a little shocked by that, but you know, I do have 2 little boys that they would be 14 years old this year had they survived their severe prematurity. So I constantly live in fear of something happening to my sons. It was very traumatizing to me when Dee got diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, because it can be fatal. And one of my first thoughts was, I can't do this again. I'm getting a little deeper than I want to. But every time that they go out of town to see family, it's very much at the back of my mind the entire time that they're gone, that something could happen. And guys, I'm a fucking control freak. I don't know what in my head makes me think that if I'm there, everything's going to be okay. And if I can get there quickly, everything will be okay. Like if something happens at school, I can immediately be there and everything's going to be okay. And I feel like when they travel with their dad to go see family, I have to let go of that sense of control. Does that make sense? Hold on a second. I don't know how to describe it other than like I have to let them go and live and experience things and be around people and be around their family and, you know, not keep them under my wing all the time, just because I'm afraid that something's going to happen. Does that make sense? But then it's like I do, and then something happens. And, you know, you can't, shit happens all the time. Good things, bad things. That's part of life. Things can't be good all the time. They also can't be bad all of the time. And I also can't make my children shut-ins because of that fear. You know what I mean? But I was laying there last night and I was trying to nap before they got home, and I get a call from their dad saying that they had been in an accident and they were about 100 miles away, and he didn't think that his car was going to be able to drive all that way because it keeps overheating. So he was on the phone with his insurance company waiting for them to call him back. Would I be able to come? Yeah, of course I'm going to be able to come get you guys. Like, yeah. Epps was on the clock. I am an adult with a driver's license and access to my own vehicle. So I just kind of checked the balance on my credit cards and said, I'm going to go get them, and I left. And the thing with me is that I don't text or make phone calls or look at my phone while I'm driving. So I just got in my Jeep, and I got really pissed off at one point in time because I was like, where are you? And he gave me the directions and just was like, head north. And I'm like, what the fuck does that even, I'm not a pirate. I'm not a sailor here. What year is it? Head north. I don't even know my left from my right. That caused me to get really agitated. That caused me to get really agitated. Head north. Excuse me, what, bitch? I figured it out eventually. I was like, can you give me a direction of a city to go into? And I will head in the direction of that city. But the thing about me is, like, when I'm driving, I don't look at my phone. I don't look at my phone to change music, to answer texts, to answer phone calls, to make phone calls, nothing. So the entire time that I was driving this 100 miles, I didn't look at my phone. So I wasn't getting updates or anything. And I had no precise fucking location where they were. I was told to just hit the highway and drive north, and I would see it. And I drove for a while before I saw them. And unfortunately, we were on a highway, so I was going this way, and they were on the other way because they were heading home, and there was a fucking, like, barrier between us. So I had to keep driving for like 5 miles up this way and turn around and come back. And it was fine kind of because I had to stop and get gas, and I got the boys like snacks and stuff because they had been sitting there for a while. But the police had shown up, the ambulance had shown up and checked them out, and everybody was given like a clean bill of health and everything. And we loaded up my Jeep with their stuff, and we waited for the tow truck, which is fucking wild because he called his insurance company, which is the same insurance company I have, Progressive, and they sent him a tow truck that towed his vehicle like nowhere near where he lives. It's like 2.5 hours from where he lives. And he had to wait for the tow truck to get there. It showed up probably 15-20 minutes after I did. But when I showed up, it was made out to me on the phone that this was like a fender bender. His car is 100% totaled. 100% not drivable, totaled. I showed up and I looked at him and I was like, you made this out like this was no big deal. The whole front of it smashed. I guess what happened was somebody like ran a red light or something, and like he veered off the road to avoid hitting them and smashed into one of those concrete barriers, and the person just took off. And if you ask me, there's no way in fucking hell that they didn't know that they did that. There's no way they didn't see it. There's no way they didn't hear it. And everybody just kept driving like nothing happened. Like there was no time to get license plates numbers. There was no time to like get their insurance. Like I don't even know how you handle things like that. But the person did not even like stop to make sure that he and the kids were okay. They just kept driving like they had no idea what happened. Him, in true man fashion, thought, maybe I can drive this busted bitch all the way home. He couldn't turn it on without it overheating. The entire way there, though, I don't have words. I was happy that they were okay. I was happy that everybody was okay. But pissed off, frustrated, upset, didn't care about the fact that I had to go get them. Did care about the fact that it happened. But it wasn't his fault. Um, frustrated that I can't look at my phone. Kept staring at my gas tank. What? I have the weird, like in our Jeep, we have the world's smallest fucking gas tank. It's wild. It's wild how fast we go through gas. And I guess it's because it has a really, really, really small gas tank. Like $30 will fill it up. It's wild. It's wild, but it's tiny. And when you're on open road with barely any gas stations around you, it's not the best thing in the world. Around Christmas time, I had an adventure with that when I went to go see my mom. It was not fun. But because of that, I knew how far I could drive with the gas light on. Thankfully, it never came to that, because when I had to turn around to get back, like to find an exit to loop around, I got gas and I went into the gas station and got snacks and stuff for the kids. And I literally was driving on Red Bull and a Kit Kat. I bought a Kit Kat just to get a little sugar in me, and I'm pretty sure that was not helping with the fact that I was an emotional wreck. But I went and got them. We made it home just fine. Like, E was crying because he was scared. D was just like, can you turn on the heat? I'm freezing. And we got home, and then D had an endocrinology appointment at the ass crack of dawn. That went very well. He had a very good endocrinology appointment. That is the one silver fucking lining of the day, was that his endocrinology appointment went really well. But then right after that was over, I get a call from their dad saying my vehicle has been declared totaled. I can't drive it and it can't be repaired. Can you drive me the like 2.5 hours to empty it out? Because there's a bunch of stuff left in there. Oh God, sure. He doesn't have any friends and no family around here. And the only reason that he lives around here is because I live around here and he wants to be near the kids. So I can't fault him for me being the only person that he can reach out to for help. And it's probably weird, but I've never once been in bad standing with my ex-husband. Never. Not once. And it is quite unfortunate that he bought a car through the same lender that we did, and one of the terms of the lend is, even if something happens to this vehicle and you total it, it's not drivable anymore, you still have to pay it off. So that's really shitty. And I'm not really looking forward to all of the driving around I'm going to have to do for him. I'm not really looking forward to that. We'll do it. Internally, we'll complain about it. Not really looking forward to, getting up at 7 o'clock in the morning and having to drive to pick him up from work. No, it's hard enough to go downstairs and, make sure my kids brush their teeth a little more than in a half-assed manner. That's enough for me to handle that early in the morning. We did have a really good endocrinology appointment today. His A1C looked great. I did not butt heads with the nutritionist. Guys, D has autism, and because of his autism, he will only eat so many different foods. And she's all the time being like, you should try to get him to eat salad. And you should try to get him to eat broccoli. I get him to eat carrots. And that in and of itself just feels like the best, most super spectacular thing to me. She wants me to get him to eat like beets and what's the shit that looks like broccoli, but it's not. Cauliflower and things like that. And it's just like, I don't know what I know he cannot be your only autistic type 1 diabetic. I know it. But his A1C was perfect. As perfect as it can be for a type 1 diabetic, and his cholesterol is also perfect. So it's like, what do you want from us, Oh, and then my librarian, I took it out. It's not out permanently. It's just out for a little bit because it was bothering me again. I changed the bar because I kept biting into the bar and it was freaking me out. Put a shorter one in. My mouth does not like the shorter one. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to do. I keep putting one in just to make sure that it doesn't close out before I make up my mind on what I'm going to do. I don't know. I got 3 appointments scheduled today. I do very much, with my whole fucking head, heart, and ass, appreciate what Apple is doing with the call filter thing. I appreciate you trying to cut back on like scam and spam calls. But I missed the call this morning. They called me about my pulmonary appointment on Friday to schedule me for testing for 3 different tests. I thought I had 2, but I also was under the impression that the 6-minute walk thing was the lung capacity test, and apparently it's not. Apparently that's a separate test. And a lady called me today to schedule and left me a message, and because I'm in their system, they also texted me and let me know that they tried to reach out to me. And I called them, and she's like, let me see if there's anything available that I can get you in for all 3 on one day. And unfortunately, there's not until the end of the month, but this month is flying anyway, so it's just like, oh well, it'll be here before we know it. Waiting is the hardest part, but you gotta wait for most things, so it's fine. I do kind of wish, though, that she would have scheduled me for the CT scan as soon as possible, because the lung capacity test and the 6-minute walk test thing is more so for like finding out if I have asthma or COPD. Guys, I'm more so curious about like what the fuck is growing in my lungs and if there's more of it. Like that feels a little more urgent in my head than either of those things. I don't know. That's just me. Did you guys know the type of COPD that this pulmonary doctor thinks that I have can deeply affect your liver and also cause like chronic fatigue? But listen, I've had 2 + 2 = 4 before and it not be the thing, so who knows. The school never got a hold of me despite the fact that I filled out paperwork and they told me on Friday that they would. So that's fun. I get to make some calls tomorrow. But I have to be up at the ass crack of dawn because we are going to pick up Epps and I, because he doesn't work tomorrow. Epps and I are going to go pick up their dad at work and then drive all that way so that he can clean out his vehicle and we can bring him back into town. And that's how life has been for the last 24 hours. So cool. It's not. Anyways, I will see you guys hopefully tomorrow. I'm hoping that I know I'm going to sleep like shit. I know I'm going through a sleep like shit cycle right now. I'm really hoping that the hours that it's going to take for us to drive him and everything is not going to eat up the whole day and make it so that I can't do any work at all, but it may, so we'll see what happens. I'll see you guys later. Boy.